and the neighbors to the south of them. This is a common thing. It's right there. You can look at it. It doesn't mean the Egyptians portrayed themselves like white people. No one is saying that. I wouldn't think that in a million years. They're on a continent that would later be called Africa. These are North Africans, right? And they are not white light people. It's not, I'm not caping for the Ten Commandments portrayal of Egyptians. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean they're the way the Hebrew Israelites paint them. Again, they're not white folks. Again, they're not white folks. Again, they're not white folks. So I totally see why you could have an ancient Egyptian be confused with an Israelite. That's not even a big deal. And check this out. You remember when Paul was also mistaken for an Egyptian? Same thing happened with Paul later on, right? The Roman guy says, hey, I thought you were that Egyptian, right? This is in the book of Acts. Well, here's what's so fascinating. That's the first century, right? Sonetta, the days of Paul, that's the first century. The book of Acts, that's the first century. Well, we do have a sense of the way first century Egyptians look because of the Fayum mummy portraits. And there's a range of colors in there. Very few are fair, and very few are dark. It's kind of like the way you would think Egyptians look. And you can look at these, and these are paintings, semi-realistic paintings, including skin tone and features. They're still very harrowing to this day because the paint lasted for a long time. And you can see, so if Paul was mistaken for that kind of person, that makes sense. That's about the range of what we would see an Israelite look like. The problem is we don't have a lot of portrayal of ancient Israelites because there wasn't over concern, somewhat like Muslims today, about images in general. And so there was a concern. So Israelites in general didn't have many portrayals of themselves. The problem is we don't have a lot of portrayal of ancient Israelites because there wasn't over concern, somewhat like Muslims today, about images in general. And so there was a concern. So Israelites in general didn't have many portrayals of themselves. And that's a reality we have to look at. But the way the Hebrew Israelites do it is a clumsy way of history. And it's really to prove their thesis. It's not to really deal precisely with history.
Who are the descendants of Hamites today?
So these one-to-one correlations, Sonetta, are problematic. The idea that like there's Ham and then there's pure Hamitic bloodline, because I'm not saying you're saying that, but I feel like that's the way some people approach it. If you're looking at the children of Noah coming off the ark, and that's sort of the bottleneck that begins everybody else after Adam. So the post-diluvian world after the flood, right? There's all kinds of people going all kinds of places. Now, dispersal and moving and migration. And we're talking about ancient history. When exactly was the flood? You see what I'm saying? This could have been 6,000 years ago. We're talking about a long time. So in general, we might say that as a general thing, we see during the biblical times, the land that would become called Africa is populated with the sons of Ham in general. But the idea that now there's a one-to-one correlation is just crazy. And I think, but when we look at that, I don't think there is this one-to-one correlation where I would say this is the sons of Ham, because the intermixing and stuff, even in the Bible, is clearly present. Esau married Egyptian women. Even during the days of the Israelites, after they got out of the Exodus, you see people who had an Egyptian father. You see that Moses married an Ethiopian. Right there in the Bible, there's the mixing, right? And it appears in Numbers 11 when Miriam and Aaron brought a beef. Part of the reason was they didn't seem to like his black wife. I mean, when Miriam and Aaron brought a beef, part of the reason was they didn't seem to like his black wife. I mean, when Miriam and Aaron brought a beef, part of the reason was they didn't seem to like his black wife. I mean, part of the reason was they didn't seem to like his black wife. That it seems to be an indication of part of what they thought was a problem there. That it seems to be an indication of part of what they thought was a problem there.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Racha HaQuadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors to you, brethren. Shalom to the elect. Anyway, I want to go to this video with Vocab Malone. I think this is an actual old video. It looks like he re-uploaded it or put something in it. I don't know. But I didn't catch this part where he says the Israelites, you know, the issue is the lies, right? And what he's trying to do is smooth out the lies. That's the big issue. We know history on Egypt, Ptolemy, and the Edomites that went into Egypt, conquered it, and you had Cleopatra, who may even looked like a shade of brown. We know the mixing. We know what happened. But the issue is, all our lives, when we sat there in the television, they didn't even show. They might have showed one black Egyptian. He wasn't black. It looked like they put paint on a white man and kind of made him look black. The Charleston Hestons and those lies. Now, all those black actors, they couldn't have got any black actors to play the Israelites. Come on now. And let's say, okay, it's going to be different shades of brown. Well, why didn't they be realist and put different shades of brown in there? And then what happened to Renaissance art, man? See, that's the problem. The whole images, the reason why they put up all those white images is to control with white supremacy. Now, when we were young and we was in school, there were scholars who knew who we were. There were scholars who knew about the Egyptians and what happened, the Israelites going in and out of Egypt and who they were, but nobody said anything until now. We waking up to the truth. Now here comes these guys to try to say, well, they're not white, but they're not all black either. Now they're everybody. That's what it is, man. And basically, it's a nationality thing. It's not about a white or black thing, which we don't teach. But for truth's sake, there was no reason for the Israelites to say, well, we're black, because everybody knew it. There was no reason for Yahushua to say, hey, I'm black. But the reason why those scriptures, so-called black, the reason why John the Revelator wrote that, the reason why we get into Acts 13, it says the word it says, is because there was a distinct look, other than the different shades of brown, right? Because we all know it was a curse to be white. Now, this also got, well, let me get a scripture real quick. He also says, which he kind of threw it in there, that with the issue with Miriam, Moses and Aaron and Miriam, it was because he had a white wife, a black wife, saying that means Moses had to be white, which is an absolute lie. It wasn't about color. It was nationalities. Just like you can look at a Negro and you can look at an Ethiopian, right? And you can see a difference. You can look at an Ethiopian, a Cushite, and you can look at a Hamite. This is crazy, man. Let's go to Acts 13:1, and we're going to show you something. We're going to go into Old English. Acts 13:1. Now there was in the church that was in Antioch certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and a Simeon that was called Niger. Now, this is true. He's right, in a sense, because nobody has to say that they're black if everybody was already black, right? But these was written 4 times for our learning today because the Lord already knew this was going to happen. But this was also a thing where we had different shades of brown. And it was beautiful to be black. The term black and beautiful, black and I'm proud. That was a style. Today, the lighter you are, the better off you look beautiful or white, right? Okay, anyway, let's go to Acts 13:1. When you look at this definition in the Blue Letter, which we've done many times, it even says the word that YouTube bans, right? You can look it up yourself. But I'm going to go to the John Wycliffe Bible of 1382, read it the best way I can. It says, and the prophetess and doctoress were in the church that was in Antioch, and Barnabas in Simount, that was, it says Clepid, was called black, right? Without the K, black, right? So why was he called black? Like Jake called themselves black today in the hood. Yeah, everybody's so-called black, but then there's certain men or certain people, men and women, who have a distinct darker complexion, right? So they added the K to it, but it was really black as B-L-A-C, and then they put the K onto it, because black is really they turned it actually to a bad word. But really, when you see black, it says the definition of black is a very dark color, right? Which we don't call ourselves black because it just means death to a degree. I mean, as it transpired in words. But it wasn't, at that time, we would call ourselves the black or the Niger. Okay? That's where you get the word Negro. Okay? Having a very having a very dark color. See? Really, it's a dark color because nobody's actually black. So this is what the terminology meant when he said Niger meant dark complexion. A very dark complexion. That's all that really is. So when you look at the word black, black is a negative terminology that means something evil, like devil's food cake. And when you look at the white cake, it's angel's food cake. So it's really just basically a dark. When you see these terminologies in here, black really is just dark in complexion. And this was John the Revelator was quoting that the angel that was quoting to John when he wrote it about Yahushua, that his feet was like unto fine brass. Like fine brass is black, right? Which is dark in color. Not actually black, but dark in color. Okay? Let's get another example. Phinehas. You can look at the story of Phinehas through the javelin, through the Israelite that was messing with the heathen woman, not because he was laying with her, but because he was following their ways, right? And he said, it was about putting evil away from Israel. So when you go and look up Phinehas, you can look at this anywhere. This is a Christian-based society, a Christian network. So what vocab is doing is trying to clean up all the things that Christians held back, but now we bring it forth. This is the Christian network. Now we know Phinehas was the grandson of Eleazar, I think, or Aaron, right? Grandson of Aaron, the son of Eleazar, right? And we know that bloodline goes with Moses, Aaron, Eleazar, so forth. So it says the meaning of the mouth of brass, because the Phineas, when you look in the blue letter, it means the mouth of brass. The meaning of the mouth of brass from Old Egypt, right, means the Negro. This is what it says here, the Negro. And you can go look on every page, any place on the internet, and look up the mouth of brass. And I guarantee you, every time, and one of them might say the Egyptian Nubian, which also means black, which means dark and brown. So there's two different definitions of black. One is dark brown color, right? And the other one is on the evil left-hand side of just being black and, let me just say death, right? So when you see the Moors was calling themselves, they would be called black. Moor means black. But really when you go into it, it simply means dark brown, a dark color. That's pretty much what it is, because nobody can walk around just black. Black is when you shut your eyes in a dark room and you see nothing. That would be nothing, right? So anyway, this all proves it right here. You can look at any you can go on any website, any page, pull up the info, and this is what you'll see. Anyway, that's all I have on that. Shalom.